I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be. Hello, everyone. It's Todd Scrima, and I am lucky enough to have on the podcast with me today Robyn, LaVassaur, and Jimmie. So I'll quickly introduce them. They all have lots of jobs. So Robyn oversees all of sales as an executive for Summit. She also runs, last year, the largest branch in Summit, and she's a huge producer, and she coaches in our coaching program. Jim Reed oversees our coaching program, runs one of the largest branches in the nation for years and years, has been one of the largest producers over the last 20 plus years. So guys, welcome. We thought we would do a podcast and take some of the smartest people in the mortgage business that I know and do short podcasts. And so this one's for loan officers, and we're talking about sales. We thought we would name it High Octane Sales Fuel for 2022. So a lot of we're coming off the best 2 years we've ever had in the mortgage industry. And I think there is a sense in the industry that, oh my God, what happens next? Is the shoe falling, that kind of stuff. Now, next year is supposed to be a great year. I think the industry did $4 trillion this last year, and probably the estimates I've heard is $2.6 trillion next year. So not near as robust, but still a very good year. So I'm always cautious of people that are very fear-based. I don't live that way. And so that's more of a comment. I'll start with a story. This is a story so this brings me back to, I was about 25 years old. I was 1 year into the business, and I was a fairly new loan officer, and I was bumping along, closing, 3, 4, 6 loans a month was a big month for me. And then I had a month where I closed 1 loan. And I was so angry, disappointed, frustrated. I felt lost. That's really the feeling that I had. So I went to, at this time, a title rep, and he did business with 200-300 realtors. And he just dominated. And his name was Dan. I said, Dan, can I meet with you? You don't know me, but I just met you in the office once. But he says, yeah, come meet with me. So I meet with him. And I said, Dan, I'm really embarrassed. I really like this career. I would like to stay in it. And I don't know how, because I just had a month where I closed 1 loan. And he says, well, I would tell you what to do, but you won't do it. And I said, I'll do anything. Like, you don't know me. I'm an animal. I will do anything. And he said, well, call 10 people a day you don't know, and you'll set 1 or 2 appointments and go out on those appointments and have a presentation ready on what to say. And I said, okay, but I don't know what to say. He says, I said, why are you being that way? He says, because you won't make the 10 calls. I said, so, well, if I make 10 calls every single day for the next month, can I come back to you and get some more coaching? And he says, yes. Of course, the story ends where I come back the next month and I had 8 loans closing, and I had taken 12 loan applications. And I'm 51. So this is 26 years ago. I still remember the math, and I don't have a good memory. So that's my story about getting through a tough market, and the first one that I faced. So Jim or Robyn, what do you think about this topic, sales fuel for 2022?
Ladies first, that's what I say.
Oh, I like it. You guys don't see Todd whenever he's like, stop. You might not be watching us, you might be listening. It's always funny to see his facial expressions during that. What I think about a couple things. One, I think about the importance of 2 things. Asking for help. I think a lot of people hide in those situations. They allow themselves to shut down, they wallow in it, versus seeking a mentor, seeking information, seeking a path. A lot of people are willing to help. You just have to have the courage to ask. And so I think of the importance of both of those things that you just said, Todd. Gosh, from asking for it to also then following through, right? A lot of people ask for something and then they're like, I'm not doing that. I'm not willing to do that. Well, then why'd you ask to begin with, right? So you generally go to, what do we call it? The bigger pile theory. Hey, somebody's doing this better than I am. It doesn't even have to be with money. I'm going to go ask them what they're doing that's working. And then I'm actually going to do what they told me to do to see if it worked. And I think sometimes you have to have that tenacity, that commitment, the drive, the fear, if you will, the chip on your shoulder. Hey, I just did 1 loan. I like the business. how do I go do more? And so those are the two things that stick out to me. Are you willing to ask for the help? Are you willing to follow a plan of who helps you and gives that to you?
I'm interested, when did you start asking for help? Because I remember our first meeting and you were doing like 5 loans a month. How do you go from 5 loans to 600? Like, how does that even happen?
Yeah, I mean, when do you start asking for help? Well, I wasn't in a culture of help. So I think a lot of mortgage companies, you are a lone wolf, right? I think you're a lone wolf that leads you to every day you show up and it's what kind of month you're having, and everybody lives in the past. I just closed this many. I just closed this many. Well, they talk about that. What they don't talk about is what they're going to do to get control of the future, right? What are we all willing to do? And is there a pathway, and is there help? And so when I really learned that asking for help was critical was at Summit, right? Through your mentorship, through the culture that it really brings to the table. I mean, that was my environment that created a safe place to say, hey, there's a lot of people out there that are willing to show you the way, but then once they show you, they're only going to show you a couple times if you're not willing to do the work.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's funny you say that, the willing to share thing. I had a branch meeting yesterday. I was talking to the loan officers, and there was 3 or 4 that came from other companies, and I was like, hey, what's the biggest difference here, like in our branch? What's the biggest difference? Because they were all laughing and like hanging out with each other, which I love, because I want to work with people I like. And they're like, well, at the other company, people didn't help each other. Like, loan officers were super competitive. And if nothing else, you listen to this podcast, somewhere around you, there's got to be a loan officer that's maybe been around a while, has some good results, and you got to figure out a way to ask them to be your mentor, because that's really, really what it takes on a daily basis. And I think that's kind of what Robyn's talking about. And it's not that common. It's hard to find it. So you got to spend some time pursuing it. What's the right thing?
It's interesting, Jimmie, that you say that, because I think that, we interview lots of recruits. We talk to a lot of people that are looking at changing companies in general. I mean, you see people changing even not in a mortgage company setting. And often what that is that they feel at odds or at competition with their, peers versus in collaboration. And what that is that scarcity mindset where somebody feels like, hey, if I was cheering Jim on, his success might get in the way of my own, right? There's fear around someone else's success might prohibit your success, instead of that abundance mindset of, hey, there's plenty of success, kind of like you opened up with, Todd, that we don't like to live in a fear-based mindset. We very much like an abundance mindset of, hey, you're going to have to do the work, but there's plenty of it out there, right? There's plenty of work and there's plenty of results to be had. You don't have to necessarily unhealthy compete, have jealous and envy to create the results that you want.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
On that topic, just 2 hours ago, I was stuck on an idea that I'm thinking of implementing. So I called another mortgage company CEO. I've only talked to him 3 times in my life. And I called him, left him a detailed voicemail, literally called me back 10 minutes later. Todd, I'm happy to help you. What can I do? So we had a 30-minute phone call, and he already emailed me all the information and gave me all the contact information for the guy in his company to help me through it. So I think sometimes it's just so easy. Another quick story. Yesterday, I hired a gentleman. He's closing $52 million this month. He's Spanish speaking. He's back east, and 100% social media. And I'm like, I don't have that skill. Will you teach? I said, I'll help you build your team. Like, I've got skills he doesn't have. But I'm like, how in the world do you do that? Wow. Like, I want to know. Like, I think that's the future, is big loan officers casting a wider net, especially with all the COVID issues that we've all experienced. And we all know that. So I just asked him, I said, will you teach me what you do? He says, 100%. You teach me how to do these things, I'll teach you how to do that. I said, great, because I'm not good at it. So, it'll probably save me 10 years. Like, that's how I look at those things. It'll save me so much time.
So why don't you think people ask for help? Like, Jimmie, why don't people ask for help?
Oh, because it's a sign of weakness. That's my opinion. If I ask for help, it means it's a sign of weakness, and it takes a humble man, and to be humble takes a strong man, and it takes a while. It takes some maturity to be able to ask for help. And it's a fear-based decision, but I think it's just a weakness that we all tend to have, and I just don't know how I would have ever been successful without asking for help. I can tell you that. Yeah. I've had a coach my whole life since I was 4 years old. I've either been a coach or had a coach since I was 4, and I think that's the most important thing I remember about. So I try to teach my kids, right? You're a loan officer, you're running a branch, and you're a parent, and you're helping people grow, and having the humbleness to go to your teacher and ask for help when you're struggling. Like to get my 16-year-old to go to his math teacher and ask for help is like pulling teeth.
Amen.
Right? So they don't just get out of high school and now they're okay asking for help. We get them as a loan officer and they're the same person for a while. And I think we forget it.
Yeah.
We've been around so long. It's like, of course, ask for help. Of course. People will help you if you ask them. It's not as easy as that for a lot of us.
I think you're going to have to ask for a lot of help in 2022 because the refi boom is really, yes, it's rained mortgages for the last 2 years. And a lot of people just got in the business in the last 2 years. So they've only seen it rain mortgage.
Yeah.
And so one of the key things is probably to check that ego, to check the past at the door and start looking towards the future, and asking for help is going to be a key component of that.
100%.
Yep.
I was coaching some of our loan officers this week, and I said, what really happened last year? And they were confused by the question. I said, well, what really happened? We still do mortgages, still take applications, still do all that stuff. And finally, one guy said it. He says, we got more leads. I said, you got more leads. That's exactly right. You just got more leads because rates were 3% or under 3%. Mm-hmm. And so all you really have to do is replace that. So if you're getting 40 leads a month, and before the pandemic, you were getting 20 leads a month, you have to fill that gap. And as long as you feel the time that in my opinion, like if you were taking 4 apps a day and now it's 1, if you just take that other 3 hours that you were taking apps and really sell and have a plan to sell, you're going to fill that gap. That's what we end up talking about. So I'd love some ideas on that.
Well, I mean, it's simple for you. And for like the normal loan officer, like I've been doing loans 25 years. And in a normal market, if you do 100 loans a year, it's a pretty good loan officer. 8 loans a month, you're a pretty good loan officer making a pretty good living. And so to do, to do 8 loans a month, let's say if you get 20 leads a month, you're going to do 4 loans a month. So you got to get 40 leads a month to close 8. 40 real leads, not counting advertising leads, not counting Zillow. Where are you going to get them? You're going to work open houses. What are you going to say to work an open house? You're going to call realtors and get meetings. What are you going to say? So like I was listening to your story earlier and I'm like, just call these five people a day. Was it 5 or 10? 10 people a day. That's a lot. Call 5. I'm like thinking, can I do that? Yeah, I could do it. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it. So call 10 people a day and you asked him, well, what do I say at the meeting? And he said, don't worry about it. I just think for me, when I was, coming up as a loan partner on your team and trying to figure out if I was ever going to be a salesperson, the what am I going to say held me back for a long time.
Amen.
Like a long time. And for you, it doesn't. I don't know what's wrong with you. You're kind of a weirdo, dude, because for most everybody else, the what am I going to say at that meeting if I get the appointment freaks me out. And so it stops me from picking up the phone. And so working on that presentation, I can talk about what I say right now if we want. I can talk about what I say to get a meeting. Sure, we could do that. But to sit down with someone and get ready and to actually role play it and to practice, I'm just telling you, the loan officers don't do it. So they go to the meeting, right? And they're like, I had one of my loan officers turn over his phone, push record voice memo. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And turn over his phone. I'm like, just do it for me, record it, come back. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it before you get back. And come in, we'll turn it over and I'll help you get better. You do that. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. So he goes and meets with this realtor. I swear to you, Todd, the realtor said maybe 10 things. And the loan officer talked for 25 minutes without even taking a breath. Right? Service, close on time. He's like, have you ever stayed up late at night and seen the ShamWow guy who sold those orange rags on with the microphone? Like, you ever been to the state fair? And there's a guy who's standing there and he's selling mixers or something and he's chopping and dicing and he's waiting and he does this. It's amazing. And he cleans up and it goes in the dishwasher. He's doing all this stuff. And the realtor, you can hear the realtors almost, you can see her nodding in the meeting. You can see her nodding, and when they're nodding, what's happening, right?
Yeah, let's get out.
Figure out how the heck do I get out of here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, you're amazing, she said at the end. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. I can't wait to do business with you. I turned over the phone and I said, bro, I don't know everything, but I do know this. You ain't never getting a lead from that lady.
Right.
Right? Yeah, so you talked about the guy from the East Coast with the social media marketing, and I'm the West Coast. I'm the complete opposite. I'm a relationship guy. Like, I really feel like your job as a loan rep in the next market is to find 5 friends that are realtors that also happen to be really good ones.
Yeah.
And to really pick who you hang out with. And I can help you with those scripts. I can help you how to get those appointments. I can help you what to say at those appointments, because those are the ones where the relationship lasts. And when you mess up, Robyn, you ever messed up on a loan?
Ooh. We all have, right?
Yeah, so you're going to mess up on the deals, and the only way you're going to keep that client is if you have a relationship.
Amen.
So
Yeah.
I think knowing what to say and getting that from asking for help and being in a coaching program like ours, and if you're not in ours, getting somebody else's, it is the key to growth. You can't just wing it.
100%. So let's do some closing comments. So mine is that you remind me of is I mastered one call script in one presentation. So to this day, that was taught to me about 28 years ago. To this day, I have one script in one presentation, but I'm really good at it. So to me, Robyn and Jim and I are always trying to sharpen the saw. So we went off site last Thursday and Friday, and we listened to a professional leadership coach for 2 days. And one of the things he said was, you have to have those tools in your tool belt. And you don't have to have 15 of them, but you got to have at least one for each of those areas of your business so that you know what to say every single day at a meeting or during a conversation or when you're picking up the phone. So that's my takeaway that you reinforced. Robyn, one for you.
I'm going to lean back on the asking for help. You taught me years ago, Todd, and it stuck with me. You always have these little lessons someone says where you're like, ooh, I remember that one. And I reach for it constantly. My little Rolodex in my brain is struggling is a choice. And as arrogant as that can sound, the truth is there is pretty much help for anything, anywhere, if you're willing to ask for it and have the courage, as Jimmie said, to ask for it. And so next year, it's going to be a new battle year, and it's going to take the right leadership in general to ask for help, to guide you, to care enough to get unreasonable with you that they are not going to allow you to fail, right? But you have to be interested enough to say, I need help in not doing that, right? I'm not going to hide from it. I'm going to stand right there and raise my hand.
100%. Jim, takeaway for you.
Yeah, mine is maybe intrinsic here, but whatever the hard decision is the right decision. Like, I'm sitting here listening to you guys, and I'm like, I need to ask for help more. And the example that I have for you is, we went off site to that training that you were talking about, and I spent about, and I think loan officers out there are going to relate to this, I might have spent 30 minutes trying to figure out a way to get out of that dang thing. I just gotten back from a vacation. I had a bunch of leads to call. I had a bunch of loan officers that worked for me that needed my time. I was tired. I was grumpy. And I just wanted to get out of it, and I didn't get out of it, and I'm so glad. So I think that investing in yourself, asking for help, and putting in the work to learn new skills is really the takeaway for me, and to never stop doing that.
I love it. Well, listen, guys, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to keep these coming at you. I like this new format of doing shorter, more specific, conversation-based podcasts. So I've got 2 of the best people in the mortgage industry. We're going to keep these coming at you. You can always find more of these at beyourbestseries.com. There's a number of them on there. I'm just changing the format a little bit. So guys, we're honored that you're listening to us blab a little bit. Go out and make it a great day. Let's have a great 2022. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Todd.
Such a good smile.